Let's call the meeting to order, the Delta County Planning and Community Development Board of Adjustment meeting. Roll call. Mike?
Mike Twombly, District 1.
Okay, is Candace joining us via? No. Okay, and I'm here.
Community Development Director.
Okay,
Brittany Haney, planner 1.
okay. Public comments, time set aside, excuse me, for the public to comment on matters not on the agenda. The chair may set a time limit for speakers. Shelley would probably want to comment on this one. Brittany, any changes?
I don't have any changes.
Okay. Did we read the meeting minutes from May 22nd and find any errors, or is it?
I would make a motion that we accept minutes as printed.
Okay.
For our last meeting, which was back in May.
Back in May.
Right.
I would second that. Any discussion?
None.
All in favor? Can we do this quickly, or do you want me to do it?
No, you're good.
Okay, all right. Okay, vote yes. Meeting minutes accepted. Okay, up to the Burns plat. Considering 3 variances, reducing the required lot size from 35 acres in the A35 zoning district to lot 1, 9.98 acres. Lot 2, 2 acres. Lot 3, 2 acres. Subject property is located north of Redlands Mesa Road, Hotchkiss, and it gives a parcel number.
For clarity on this, what exactly are we doing? I didn't. We're gonna hear everything.
Did you get the?
Yeah, you guys
That last
do,
email I got.
you do make a quorum because there's a majority of your board
Okay.
here. You just will not do the annual meeting election for this meeting. So because Candace is not,
Right, okay,
but you can
but
hear.
this is in full.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
So if you are ready to hear the scheduled item for tonight, then I can start the presentation.
Absolutely.
All right. Tonight we have BLN 25-046 Burns. The application is for you to consider 3 variances reducing the required lot size in the A35 zoning district. As introduction, the subject parcel is currently 13.98 acres and has been zoned A35, which requires a 35 minimum to subdivide. So as you know, it already doesn't meet the zoning requirements. The proposal is for a 3-lot subdivision where none of the lots are able to meet the minimum acreage. Therefore, all lots will require a variance to lot sizes. Lot 1 will be 9.70 acres. This lot has an existing address, which is 29999 Redlands Mesa Road. There was a residential structure assigned to the address, but I think in 2022, it had burnt down. So the domestic water is served by the Valley View Spring pipeline, and access is existing from Redlands Mesa Road. Lot 2 is a proposed lot of 2 acres with no residential structures. So it will be a vacant residential lot at this time. Domestic water is proposed by the Valley View Spring pipeline, and the access location for the proposed on Redlands Mesa. Lot 3, very similar to lot 2. It is proposed to be a 2-acre lot, again with no residential structures. Domestic water is proposed by the Valley View Spring Pipeline, and the access is proposed on Redlands Mesa Road. Here you'll see the vicinity map. The property is located about 5.77 miles northerly from the town of Hotchkiss. Here's the zoning map. Again, the property has been zoned A35, surrounded by A35 with a small portion of A20 to the south and BLM to the east. The surrounding properties acreages range from 121 acres to 1.48 acres. To the south of the subject property, there is a section of A20, as I mentioned. Those properties acreages range from 39 acres to 0.75 acres. Here you'll see the site plan. It's pretty close to the proposed preliminary plat. Again, this goes into detail of what each of the plats or the lots on the plat would look like. So lot 1 is in the teal color. It does have an address assigned to it, the 29999 Redlands Mesa Road. The access is existing from Redlands Mesa Road, which is off of the flag lot down here. Again, Valley View Spring Pipeline serves this parcel. There is an existing OWTS. If you don't know what that is a septic system with a permit of 216-94. Lot 2, which is currently a vacant lot, it is proposed from Redlands Mesa Road through a 30-foot wide shared easement. Proposed domestic water, again, the Valley View Spring Pipeline. No OWTS permit is installed for this lot. Lot 3, very similar to lot 2, vacant. Proposed access from Redlands Mesa Road through the same 30-foot wide shared easement. Again, proposed domestic waters, the Valley View Spring Pipeline. No OWTS is installed. The white block in the middle with the red around is where the proposed 30-foot wide shared easement is located at. So here is the required findings. So the criteria from the land use code is consistent with the land use code, meets UGA standards, minimized disturbance to irrigated ag and wildlife habitat. The findings, unique conditions and practical difficulties, exceptional shape and topography, etc., hardship, and a public detriment. So lot 1 was developed with a single family residence that burnt down. If the owner chooses to replace the residence with a new single family residence, which they are proposing to do that eventually if all this goes through. The location of the residence would not be much change of what was there.
Correct.
Because everything's already there. So they would just be replacing the burnt down home with the new. Lot 1 will have a majority of the land in ag. However, using aerial imagery, the lot does not appear to be in ag. Sorry, I lost my spot. And it's due to the owners not living there because of the house burning down. So nobody's really been there to maintain ag land at this time.
This never hasn't really been used since 2000 for agricultural purposes.
And we'll get to that later too, so you can answer those. So staff believes that just what I said. So, sorry, lost my spot again. Lot 2 and 3 are proposed as vacant residential lot and will remain with a small portion of ag. If this goes through and the owner of they buy it, they decide to keep it in ag, that's their choice. So as such, staff believes that there will be a minimum disturbance to any of the existing ag land due to the land not currently being in ag production. Lot 1 has a proposed flag lot for the access location to the property according to the land use code in chapter 12 subdivision regulations, section 3 preliminary plats, subsection B standard subdivision design standards. It states that flag lot configuration shall be avoided when possible. The minimum width of the flag lot appendage shall be 30 feet. The access along the flagpole shall be graded with a 20 feet wide, clear of all encumbrance and drained in order to provide adequate emergency access to the property. The flag lot meets these requirements. However, for the land use code, there is a minimum requirement of lot frontage in all zoning districts to 75 feet. This issue will be further reviewed if the variances are approved. Other than that, all of the lots meet the criteria set in the land use code. So with that, we'll move to the recommendations. So as such, staff recommends that the Board of Adjustments consider required variance findings as they apply to PLN 25-046 Burns and provide direction to either approve, conditionally approve, or deny 3 variances for the minimum lot size, 35 acres, to lot 1, which is proposed to be 9.98 acres, lot 2, 2 acres, and lot 3, 2 acres, and authorize the director to prepare a resolution reflecting the Board of Adjustments direction, including evidence related to the required findings and conditions as applicable. And that concludes my presentation. And the Burns are here, so if you have any questions, they'd be happy to answer them.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mike.
Have you guys got anything to add to this presentation?
I don't think so. Nothing but all the highlights.
Okay.
Mhm.
One of the few things that stood out in comments and input from neighbors or whatnot was the flag lot.
Yeah.
Is that configuration something you guys came up with or?
Yeah. Just, maybe out of ignorance, perhaps. That's kind of my first.
First go at it?
First I heard
Yeah.
of, which, so,
Okay.
if that's.
I just wondered where that idea came up with, because, we've been doing this kind of stuff for a long time between here and planning and stuff, and there's been some neat suggestions made over the time that, stacking 2 square lots, one behind the other, alleviates that argument against the subdivision, because it's not truly a flag lot anymore. The downside is if you did 2 small lots, you'd have 200 lineal feet of shared access before you entered the second lot. So sometimes the little bit of money that it takes in gravel to provide that access, it's pretty minimal, but if there is a real sticking point, or you get a lot of pushback.
Help me understand, the shape of that lot is the problem, the flag shape.
That's usually what they try to get rid of. Over the years, we've had lots of 40s get broken up, and people come in and try to do a real skinny access and then do 2 or 3, 4 lots.
Yeah.
It just creates a lot of issues down the road, because 2 or 3 owners down the road are going to want to split their property up. And when you provide a 30-foot easement or access, if you own the access, it's very hard to 20 years in the future break that up and have adequate access and egress. So that's that's the biggest reason that I've come across that we try to avoid that kind of access.
And
And,
I'm
you know-
amenable to changing the shape, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, to me, that's not a hard and fast kind
'Cause-
of thing. We could certainly alter that.
Yeah, those, where those two lots are proposed, that really, just given that picture, that doesn't look like egg ground to me for some reason. Is it just cleared and flat, no sage on it?
Yeah.
So, but it could be in grass or,
Sure.
Used to be an alfalfa.
you know,
Do you guys have any irrigation water?
We do. Yeah. And I could certainly, certainly amenable to shaving off some of that to provide some water for those.
Are you willing to sell it to prospective buyers so their name is on it,
Oh, sure.
not sharing?
Yeah. That's the way I want it.
Okay, well, we get people that want it way the other way and that's, yeah. Not fair and I won't ever dry land anything, I'll tell you that right now.
So it's got enough lift.
Yeah. Yeah.
It leaves this open for further in the future. Not right away.
I'll let Mike finish asking his questions.
Didn't think, I had one more thing I was gonna touch on and I can't remember it now. So if it comes back to me, I'll,
Just throw something at me and I'll
Yep.
let you go back again.
so I think that, yeah, that was it. Oh, I know what the question was. Can you go back to your map? That one there. So in the south west corner, there's some small lots. Also, there's a small lot or two on the east side. Those are not highlighted because they've been around forever, right? But those are in fact smaller lots.
Yes, it's significantly smaller.
Yeah.
And I did make point of that in the presentation. The ones in the A20 are like 0.
75.
Yeah, they're pretty small.
Yeah.
And then,
Do you know when those were approved or?
I didn't look into it as it's not a part of the,
Right. But when we talk about A35s or A20s, everything around the subject property appears to be pretty big acreage.
Oh, I was just looking at it. I mean, and part of that is that A20, but I saw 3 lots that were less than an acre or about an acre or less. There's half a dozen that are 5 or right around 5.
Mhm. Well, you can
A
see
bunch that are
right from
14
here that there's
too.
several, but they don't show up on
Right.
the information that we're given. We're just saying that what's around your property.
I can most definitely pull up like the actual zoning map and we
Yeah.
can look at it that way if you
But-
like.
No, it's just a question. They're not accounted for in our paperwork.
Right.
Except that we see it on the map.
Yeah, go ahead and pull it up, Brittany.
It's gonna take me a second because the Zoom thing keeps coming down. That's not what I want. Always when you get put on spot, you don't remember what you're doing.
I don't mean to drag this out on you folks, but I'd rather be over-informed if we're gonna make a decision than under-informed.
Another good thing is that their address is easy to remember. It is.
As long as you get enough 9s in there.
That's the thing.
So that house that burned down, you guys are not living on the property at this time? Oh, okay.
Beautiful spot, though. She like going back.
I love it there.
Apparently it's not letting me,
I love it.
go to it. It's not. Cooking with bacon. This is there. Up here. This little guy right here. So you tell me how far you want me to go out.
Well, just to the east, there's that small block in a,
Yeah, there's a,
You want
it's a
in?
1.5 acre lot there at the kind of corner of Redland Mesa, 3050 road.
well, that's abutting it, or is,
Right
that's
there.
not abutting it, is it?
It's 3 parcels down.
Okay. So that is a pretty significant small lot. The one across the street looks like it'd be closer to 20% of a 40. I'm
The
guessing,
one to the south of
Yeah,
Redland
just
Mesa, it's 4.92,
so it's even smaller.
5
Yeah,
acres.
5 acres, yeah.
The one 3 parcels down is 1.17 acres.
And when was that one approved?
Not even sure.
I know, I have to ask all these questions.
I would have. to-
Yeah, that would be hard to,
Yeah,
you'd have to look up each one individually, but the point is, there's several,
yeah.
just in the broad overview,
Mhm.
that appear to be very small.
And the reason I ask the questions that I do is, since we put in the land use code and all of that, you know, if this was pre or after. So, you know, pre, it may be non-conforming. And that looks like a whole lot of, and I know the area, it's got an awful lot of stuff in ag up there, so. You know, the 85, the A35 is, yeah, that's why I'm asking for dates. If it was done when what I call is the Wild West days of Delta County, they built whatever they wanted, which was the early 90s and before.
There's a parcel owned by Upper Surface Creek that's 0.23 acres.
Is that a head gate or something? Yeah.
Yeah, well, that kind of answers my question, though. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Okay, so you guys have no intention of being gentlemen farmers, I take it.
Well,
You said this
40
was-
years Younger.
I get you, trust me. I asked because it appears to be in it, you guys said it was an alfalfa. And
It's a
it's,
And it was in alfalfa.
mhm,
They used to raise horses, but that was 35 years ago, 40 years ago.
yeah.
It hasn't been, nothing's been done to it since then.
And what kind of irrigation shares do you have?
The
Surface
8
Creek.
shares, yes.
No,
Surface Creek.
Creek. And Highlands.
Highline?
Highlands. And
Yeah.
Let's see, share the B1, Root Creek. $42 shares of B2. Root Creek. 3 shares of A1. Root Creek, and 18 shares of Highline. It's enough to do that. You know, probably 10 or 11 acres there. But that was in.
Okay, but you guys have no plans on being gentlemen farmers?
You know,
Yeah,
like to green the place up.
yeah.
I'm not. As we race horses.
Or farm. We don't even own a tractor.
Not yet.
Yeah.
I have 2 or 3 I could sell you. I have 2 or 3 I could sell you.
We don't.
So my thing is always about water and dry landing on the irrigation side. What kind of shares are needed to put that back in ag, because it clearly was ag. It's in an ag area, most of which are you know, the larger plots that, grow hay, grow grass, they graze horses and cows on them in almost all the areas. That's also why I asked when those little lots were. Was it pre or post? When we changed the rules, like in 2021 or 2024, whichever. But you know, back when I called the Wild West days is what I was getting at. As far as the spring goes, have you had it tested? And what is the gallon per minute?
60 gallons, what, 60 gallons a minute? I took it to it hasn't been tested, but the water board in Montrose, I went and talked to them.
Mhm.
They dealt with the people, their water people in Denver. And they said that it was pumping, I thought they said 60 gallons a minute. It's on a paper.
Which it was included in your guys' packet, the information that was relayed to us from the people, yes. PWR. They had stated that they don't have any issues with the 3 lots using the string. I know that has come up in many of the neighbors' comments as well, but PWR has no concerns. If this does get approved and we move forward in the preliminary plat process, they will have to go through, get all the water tested and what have you.
They have to prove adequate quantity, quality, and dependability. So there needs to be some sort of test to verify that.
Right. Well, I've been doing this long enough. I know exactly, you know. So you guys and whoever you sell those 2 parcels to, in theory, all agree and shake hands. But when you guys decide you don't want to live here anymore and sell it, and then the other guys don't, and then nobody knows what's going on, and you've got a shared well that may not be producing what it was, which is the case and which is forecast for Delta County because they're doing so much in the NRCS piping. The Wild West days, there were places that were approved for like shared wells that were absolutely awful. Would you be amenable to coming up with some kind of an agreement with whomever purchases the lots from you that you guys either form an HOA or do something along those lines? So there's clear direction attached to the deed on who pays the electric water bill and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I think there would have to be.
Yeah.
Something.
I'd just like to make sure you guys are okay with
Yeah,
that.
we had talked about that, how we would run it, if we do HOA or how we do it, because I know we're gonna have to control that water so that there's no fights. You don't want a water fight.
And that is what we have from those Wild West days. And I try to really avoid those now and make sure that, you know, somebody's splitting off ag land, that they're giving them shares. And if I'm not a fan of shared springs, especially as the water table is going lower and lower because of the NRCS project. They put so much water in pipe that we've already noticed in certain areas wells are not producing anymore, and it's only going to get worse. So I understand that surface creek water can be had at that location. They say,
Because of that subdivision that's going in Cedar Edge, they're not planning on going any further, so it ends right on the top of the hill, 1 residence before us. And they're not planning on bringing any more Surface Creek there. And if that subdivision, because they've got to take care of that huge one that's going in Cedar Edge.
the golf course thing.
Creek won't come as far.
Yeah.
So I don't know what everybody else uses. I think a lot of people up there haul water I see water trucks coming up and down, but I don't know what everybody else uses, because we've always had that spring.
Yeah, well, hauling water and cisterns are no longer allowed, and those are state guidelines.
What do the people do that do that now that are up there?
They either do it it was pre, because it would not have been approved
Oh,
via the state. Cisterns, anything that's hauled had to have been before the state put the clamp down on that. It's a water quality issue, you know, birds, mice, whatever get in there. Those kinds of things. So the ones that were done way back when are grandfathered in, but you can't build a new one. I had understood, do you guys have a cistern on that place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The spring feeds that cistern.
Okay,
We get a question to go on with it, what you're talking about.
go ahead.
This is for staff. Back in the early 2000s, we dealt with this a lot on the planning commission,
Uh-huh.
and the county actually came up with the solution, which was to not have this type of thing anymore. You actually had to form a water company. Did we get rid of that kind of regulation? Because there are, once you get on the other side of the river and get up into your country, there's, between there and Gunnison County, there's 70 some odd water companies. So every time somebody wants to split water, then it becomes an issue when that lot gets sold 2 or 3 times down the road, something goes wrong. And then it's a legal issue. Well, they wanted to stop that. So if you have a well that services 3 or less, you had to form a water company. And there was a right of way, so that could be fixed. If you had one neighbor that didn't get along with 2, you had the right to fix it and get adequate water to the dwelling. And that was back in the Kelly Yeager days.
I'm not
It was
aware
a
of
great-
that. I'm more aware of what you described, of, you know, forming an HOA and having.
Well, that's
a
basically
civil agreement.
that's the more modern way to handle it. If you
Yeah,
go-
I'm
if
not
you go to an
saying HOA, just
but-
whatever kind of
Whatever.
agreement that can go with the deed that, yeah.
But I don't believe that the county is in the water business per se.
You know, they put all that on the applicant,
So
and the
that's-
applicant had to prove that in
Right-
one way, shape, or
right.
form, that could be done.
right now, what we're being told by the Division of Water Resources is that spring is good to feed the 3 lots. When I reached out to confirm what Mrs. Burns had collected that information from, they told me again that they couldn't send a formal comment, but they had no concerns with using the spring. I asked about quantity, quality, dependability. They said they don't control the quality. They would have to go and do the test. They didn't have any concerns about quantity or dependability.
I mean, also just to kind of make a point, I mean, if a variance to lot size were granted for these 3 lots, they still have to go through the preliminary plat process, which will review for the adequacy of the supply of the water. They have to prove that. If they can't prove it, then they won't be granted the preliminary plat.
Oh, that's why I bring it up at this stage, so,
Yeah.
you know, we don't have to. Yeah. You know, they're willing to do something like that, and, quite frankly, with all this NRCS, it's already drying out in areas where they put all that pipe in. And you guys are higher than, like, even where 92 is. And there are people that are down on, just north of 92 that I have already noticed the difference in, what their well can produce. And some of those are not even on shared wells. And so on the subject of shared wells, some kind of agreement that runs with the land would be a good thing. I'm really not in favor of wells, but yeah, and maybe Service Creek will change their mind. That would be the best way to go. we'll chat and figure it out. Maybe we'll put something about, you form your homeowners association or whatever. But if a tap becomes available, that you guys cut bait, get a tap.
I did put my name on there,
Okay, good.
That's Service Creek.
at Surface Creek.
Yeah,
Because they said if something happened, that subdivision did not go in Cedar Edge, then they'd be willing to come as far as us
okay,
and let us buy taps.
okay.
But right now we can't.
Yeah. And the other two people that you're gonna sell, they would, we could put something in there that they would be required to also. Cause I think a lot of people are gonna have a lot of problems here with wells in the very near future between climate change and giving all the water to California and wherever else we're doing with NRCS stuff. They're not your friends. They're not doing this just to,
Sure.
they're doing it to save water to send down to California so they can have their golf courses. Yeah, or whatever. Yeah. Water was I think, only issue at the flag driveway, which you guys addressed already. I am terribly surprised that Doug did not put in on that. Did we let him know about this? Doug Fritz, the fire chief?
What?
Even we get a letter from Nomi too, so
Fire
she's,
Well, we've got a letter from Nomi, but normally you get one from Doug. He wants hammerheads and all kinds of other stuff.
Not in that, this is just for various lot sizes. It hasn't gone through the actual preliminary plat process.
Mhm.
Which if you approve, conditionally approve, then we move forward and it will go to Doug for his comments.
Which is
But
why I'd like to mention it now so nobody forgets it later.
He has to
part of the process.
that he can make comments if he would like to, and he said, I guess I was misinformed. So.
He doesn't, he's not a fan of that shape either, that what I'm.
You've been the fire chief for, I can't even begin.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay.
Just want to make sure they have access in and out.
Right.
Yeah, and he does like hammerheads and all kinds of stuff, but you live in fire country, really.
Yeah.
We try to make it as easy as possible to get him in and out safely.
You know, the hill, there's a
Cedar.
cedar,
Mhm.
we got a line. It's still.
Yeah.
It's just, man, if it goes, it's gonna go, you know?
Yeah.
Do we have people in the audience to comment for or against, or?
Anybody in the audience like to comment for or against? Yeah, absolutely. You too, sir.
Yes, I'm Jim Ellison. I own the property to the north, the ranch.
If you could come.
Yeah, come on up.
We can get-
I'm Jim Ellison. I own the property to the north of this proposed subdivision. I think one of the issues that probably the biggest issue I had to start with is the spring is on my property. Though it is filed on, it is still on my property. I got nothing until I got that letter. A simple knock on my door would have been really nice. Knowing that the
Apologize,
spring is,
This is all, new stuff for us.
Okay.
Very preliminary.
Yeah. so, and then I have some other issues. Secondly, when the house burned down, it was rented out, correct? There was drugs going on there, and I don't want those on my property or near my property. So if that happened again, we'd be right back in square one. I'm 30 years retired law enforcement, and I was first on the scene on that fire. That was a drug explosion. I've seen it many, many times.
My understanding is it started in the water heater department.
I smelled it when I got there. If it did start in the
That's what
water
fire
heater,
department
yeah,
said.
if it did start in the water heater, there were drugs in the house. I could smell it when I got there, so.
Let the public comment finish and then we can done.
But anyway, so that's another issue of mine, and there, you know, if we have more landowners, we have more conflict with agriculture. We have dog issues, we have, right now, there's many junk cars sitting on the property. There's a burned trailer house that's been there for several years. And I know just by being on my own property and seeing the spring, there's no way it's running when they're saying it's running. There is no possible way. Because it's been vacant now for 2 years, I believe. And there's no overflow.
Okay,
Also, in the past, and I don't think these folks did it, but in the past, somebody has gone and worked on that spring and just scattered pipes and whatever on my property as well.
well, there should be an easement
Yeah,
attached to that.
so that's, an easement's fine, but
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, you probably haven't seen it, but it's straight up and down.
Well,
I mean-
no, I know where we're talking about. I live on
So
the
to get to
Creek,
that
yeah.
spring, you're not gonna take machinery up there
Yeah.
without going from side to side.
Mhm.
You know, I would have been willing on the property as it is to allow that, to take machinery up in there, but I'm not gonna do it for a subdivision. Because I'm totally against the subdivision. And I have nothing against these folks, I've never met them. But the groundwater is another issue. You add 2 more homes pulling water off their property, off my property, it's gonna deplete my groundwater. And that's a huge concern of mine because, yeah, we don't have city water. I'm running off of a well. And my well feeds my house and I have to have spring water for my livestock as well.
You know how many gallons per minute your well produces?
My well is about 6.
Okay. And
So-
that's for livestock and household.
Mhm.
Okay.
So if my water is deleted, or depleted, I mean, I'm in trouble.
If Brittany were to pull up the map again, could you point out where the spring is located on the
Sure.
property?
It's not a very good one. I mean, I can't.
Yeah.
I'll come back here and point to it if you don't mind.
See it on
the
there.
side. Or do you want me to? pull
You
it up?
can't see it.
It's further off.
Yeah, it's up in the top left corner.
Okay.
Give me just a second and I'll get to another map.
Okay.
You guys can continue talking if you like.
So those are my big concerns. And then also the one thing that wasn't addressed is that this property sits in the middle of several conservation easements. And my place is gonna be going into a conservation easement here shortly. So we're putting a subdivision in the middle of an area that we're trying to conserve as a natural and wildlife area.
Yeah, I know there's
As well
quite a
as
few
agriculture.
conservation easements up in that area.
And mine's going into one soon, so they would be surrounded on 3 sides. Well, maybe 4, 3 sides by conservation easements at that point. So that's another thing. I want to keep the area pristine. I don't want to see it trashed out. And I don't mean to be rude or point fingers. I'm not doing that at all. I don't know who the junk cars belong to. I don't believe these folks have had a chance to clean it up. I'm not faulting them for that, but inherently, I've seen it over and over again in 30 years of law enforcement. You get more people in an area, you get more dogs running free, you get more trash, you get more and down vehicles, etc. So that's where I'm at.
Okay,
Okay.
Sorry.
Tell me if you need me to go out in.
In, probably. Yeah, Shelley could probably help me out there. Up there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gotta be
it's
right
right
in
in there.
here. Yeah.
Sorry, it's
This is their
Sister.
sister,
Sister.
so it's gotta be.
So it's a person over in that corner.
Yeah, it's like up here showing.
Oh, is it, okay, so it's further, so it goes back up.
Thank you.
I think it's right there. You can see kind of a white spot there. I think that's where it is.
So now that y'all are kind of friends and have met, you guys can work out some kind of thing on
Sure,
them, and if they
I'm willing
need
to,
to.
I'm
yeah.
open to talking. I just, these have been my concerns because I've seen it before. And I used to own a ranch up by Kremling that we got surrounded by smaller areas and the dogs
Yeah,
were running
I
my
had the same
livestock.
thing with cows, yeah.
So you understand
Yes.
the concerns.
Sure.
We're sorry about the kids that were out there. We're sorry.
That wasn't your fault. I do not blame you folks for that at all. I just know inherently when you rent out houses, this kind of stuff happens. I rented houses before. Believe me, I know.
I personally refuse to have two-legged tenants. I like four-legged tenants way better.
I'm with you,
Yes,
100%.
yeah.
So that's all I have unless some good folks have questions for me. Any other questions for me?
Do you have any water that, wastewater, tailwater, or whatever, that would flow down onto any of
Yes.
these proposed?
Yes. Yeah, all
And,
my wastewater pretty much flows down onto them.
okay. And is it in a place that, is going to create issues with somebody building houses, or are they going to have to
Probably
do
be.
ditching, or?
But I don't, she lives down there, so she sees how my water flows down there, so she could probably answer that better than I could.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
but to my knowledge, I don't think that would be an issue, but she can answer to that.
okay. We'd like to leave friends here. Yeah,
I'm not angry and I'm not, I just wanted to voice my concerns.
no, and we appreciate that. That's why we do these. Was there anything else that you had?
I don't believe so. I probably did, but I forgot it by now, so.
If not, we call you. Yeah, we're fairly informal here, especially when I'm in charge, yeah.
Okay,
Just definitely wanna, alleviate any concerns you might have, and there's some things I do need to do, so.
okay, good enough. I'm fine with that.
Perfect.
Thank you. And thank you, folks.
You bet.
Thank
Thank
for your
you.
comment.
Kelly?
Could you pull that map back out? Sorry, I just want to discuss the water first.
Kelly is the secretary, chief cook and bottle washer, and probably everything else for several ditch companies up in that area, so she probably knows anything better than anybody else.
I built in 2009, there were horses in this pasture. Irrigated, so it hasn't been 30 years. Less than 10. But anyway, irrigation ditch comes here, this all goes downhill. You put two houses here, how are you gonna water this? Because all this water is gonna flood these homes out. Okay,
The plan was to let the water fill that pond.
you
And then
build
we
a
would
pond
pipe
and then you put it out here.
drinking system for our 10 acres.
You're gonna still have runoff because this goes downhill, so that's a problem. This is main ditch that goes clear here and goes down Redlands Mesa Road. That the spring did 60 and 82. Guarantee, I know this area really well because I'm all the ditches. I work with the DWR all the time. All our springs are going down. We deal with several springs. There isn't one that has maintained what it was back in the 80s, even back 10 years ago. They're drying up. So that's a main concern. Now, there's not gonna be enough water in that spring for 3 homes. As you can see, this property right here is conservation easement. This is conservation easement, and if Jim does his, this will all be conservation easement. Okay, I would do mine, but it's a 40-acre parcel, actually 38-acre parcel. And we just haven't done that yet, but all this is right here. you're gonna build 2 homes here. Mary Ann will have no view whatsoever but those homes. This is Mary Ann's home. No view. I will totally lose my view of the pasture that we keep our cows in. And I'm sorry, I know it's a view, but still. This road is one of the worst maintained county roads we have. It's gravel road. It's horrible. They don't put gravel on it. They maintain it very little. We're gonna have more traffic. And this is dangerous right here. When this fire happened, I know the fire department very well. They had a really, really hard time getting their trucks up there to fight that fire. It was a huge issue. Huge. But this road, we can't take more traffic. And you guys should come drive this road.
Oh, we lived there for.
I'm talking to these guys. So, yeah, it's a horrible road. It's just a bad, you talk about these little plots. Some of those, like Surface Creek that owns that'll never be developed. That's part of their structure. That owns the small plots. So, yeah, they're way over here. We have some smaller plots over towards 3100 Road. But there's no small plots all the way around here. And then down, what, a mile this way, might not be quite a mile. You've got smaller plots. But no, these would be the only 2 little plots in this whole area right here. So, but the water situation, DWR can say what they want to sitting in an office in Denver. And say, oh, that's 60, sure, no problem, we can do those houses. They're sitting in an office in Denver, they're not out there. Nobody's looked at that, not even close. So, I guess that's mainly my thing. And I was born and raised here, I lived up there my whole life, so it's pretty sad to see what it's turning into. It's really sad.
Kelly, where do you think the water's gonna come down? If their proposed lots are put there, as opposed to putting one lot on the east side and then another lot above it on the east side.
Well, all this is it's just an open ditch and it flows. There's no pipe or anything on it, but it just flows. So it's total open irrigation, flood irrigation. And so all this water will flow right down here. That's how it's been irrigated for many, many acres or many, many years. It flows right down here. That's how you get this green down here. That's how it's designed. So you put 2 houses here and then you try and irrigate this. Not gonna work. Cause this goes downhill.
On the east side, do you think that there's, like right at your property line, is there from there going north? Say the 2 lots, I'm
This
just
is
guessing
the-
here,
this is-
yeah. Okay.
On my side.
Uh,
It's kind of a gully that goes in through there.
but if they moved the lots, one lot off of the main county road and put it north of the.
Well, it's still.
Hmm, yeah,
You're either gonna have to drive, which is dry, the only reason to drive, but you irrigate it, but when I built my house back in 2009. It was very nice pasture with horses on it. And when Marge got sick, she put water in it, and she actually leased it out for a while too. But it was a very beautiful pasture. These are her horse sheds right here. And we're gonna lose more irrigation land to the houses, and the water is our biggest issue. Anywhere. We don't have more water to keep handing out to people. We just don't. And that doesn't go just for these guys, that goes for everyone as a whole. And I have nothing against you guys, nothing. I just am totally against this, totally against it. It breaks my heart to see something like this going in. Someplace I was born and raised. That my family for hundreds of years were part of.
Okay, anybody else from the public have anything to say?
Well, I just want to share, we want to be good neighbors. We always have been. But we're getting older and we have a situation, we own the land. And we don't have the money to maintain it. We don't have the money to rebuild that house. We don't have our own retirement. This is our way. We felt we could share what God has given us with that beautiful view with a couple more families, small families that could take part in this and still allow us to have the top part that we could maintain that and keep it nice. At this point, the way it is, it's overrun with groundhogs, gophers. We don't have the means to maintain it. We like to have it maintained. We like to have it nice. But financially and our age does not help. But our kids want the land up above for their future. But at this point, we can't give them anything without being able to subdivide it and sell it, the back half, so we can maintain the top half.
But you talked about the beautiful view, but you're gonna take Mary Ann's total view, the
Well,
beautiful
the
view
houses
that
would
she
be up
has.
higher.
Take
The view is south.
I mean, only Houston South, yeah.
Well, I can't take care of everybody. We take care of our family. And
Have you thought about leasing it or selling it?
We really don't.
And finding a property that fits your needs?
Shut this off. Problems with you. Drainage.
Yeah, I think their comments should be directed to you and the
Yeah.
board, not between each other.
Yeah, if you guys could, direct your comments to us, that would be great. We definitely want to hear what you have to say, so go ahead. I was talking to him, if you could repeat what you had a minute ago. I know you guys want to develop this. I'm thinking outside the box and wondering if, but I still have a problem with the water. I'll tell you that right now. There were another place to put those places that is not going to impact somebody else's view, are not going to get flooded out by irrigation. Those kinds of things. Would you be amenable to moving the lots elsewhere? I'm thinking up against the west where the, above Mary Ann's house. And then you could make a driveway, one driveway all the way up to your house, that the offshoots on those two lower ones. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I'm willing to consider, looking at different configurations for sure. I don't think personally, I don't think the irrigation of the runoff to me, it should be fairly easy to mitigate.
Well, in a dry year, yeah, but not in a wet year.
Even in a wet year, I mean, there's, obviously there's problems, you can't foresee every problem.
Mhm.
But I think if it's laid out right, I don't see any problem really, minimizing the impacts of the runoff and putting the runoff where it needs to be. Again, as far as configuration of the lots, we're amenable. At least to a certain extent, to try and put those houses in a place that leaves the least obnoxious, option for our neighbors. We want to be good neighbors. There's no, I don't, anyway.
And I'm just being,
the-
outside the box here and,
Sure,
trying to
sure.
come up with, you can't ever help make everybody happy.
Right. The-
But, trying to mitigate some of the issues you're gonna have,
Right.
like the runoff. Cause whomever you sell those 2 lots to, if we approve it down there, they're gonna be flooded out. If somebody comes in and starts irrigating that again. From what comes down from his place and, the way that land lays right there. That's like ground zero, dead ass, right in the middle of, where that water's gonna come. And they're not gonna be happy campers about that when they figure it out.
And I'm open to reconfiguring if the footprint needs to look a little different.
Uh,
To try to mitigate some of those issues. I'm willing to try to look at that and see. Obviously, our main concern is, my wife is 71 years old and I need to get her retired. She can't keep working.
Yeah.
So, my primary consideration. And I do want to be a good neighbor. I don't want to, I'm not the kind of person who wants to piss anybody off, So, definitely want to, if there's ways we can make this work that is helpful and kind of eases the concerns of my neighbors, let's do it. I'm all in. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
okay.
So just, I don't think any of these problems are insurmountable. Maybe, but.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. If we can work it to where
Right,
everybody's happy, but
Right.
there's still the water problem.
yeah,
And that to me is a huge one because it is what Shelley said
yeah,
is happening more and more and it will continue to happen. Thank God the NRCS ran out of money. No, literally. I mean, if you know where they've already been piping those laterals, you can clearly see all the trees and everything that are dying. If you haven't lived around here for a long time, you would not know where to look, but
right,
one is just south of my house. And the lady that complains the most about it is the one that was stealing water because she didn't have any shares in the ditch to water all of her fancy trees. Because she was then gonna have to pay for Rogers Mesa Drastic Water to water said trees, whereas she'd been stealing it out of the ditch. She had those kind of things, yeah. You're never gonna make everybody happy. Mike, what do you think? I think the water situation, potable needs to be addressed.
Well, I would agree. I really don't have a real big issue taking that property and utilizing it for a subdivision. I don't have a real problem with that, but I do have a problem with how you're gonna provide the infrastructure for those lots. If you're gonna dump water down onto 2 new lots, which is what you're making, you got foundations to worry about, you got an engineered septic system. If you're gonna, just from what we see subbing in the ground, just in this past year at one of our job sites, the homeowner refused to put water in a newly installed 1,250 gallon concrete tank. And 3 weeks later, up on California Mesa, that baby crawled right out of the ground. Yeah, so it is an issue, our ground is not great in this country. And then when you add water to it for it's a real negative for foundations and for septic systems. You kind of got that going against you, but I think the biggest thing is really your domestic water. You technically, yes, you have an option. I think the option is a really poor option for you guys. You've really got to be ironclad with whatever you would come up with,
Right.
so that each individual lot owner would be able to continue access to domestic water. That seems to be really hard to prove up on your end, and when the origination point for that water is technically on somebody else's ground too, that just complicates your issue.
Yeah.
So I guess
Is,
I really don't have a problem with the subdivision per se, but how you're gonna pull it up, that's
do
my,
they put, if a person has a cistern in the ground, can they haul water and fill that?
No, no longer.
So
Older ones are
you-
grandfathered.
You can have a cistern from the spring that
We
it
have
can,
that,
yes, and
but I mean on the other two.
you can use that on the new lots. You just can't
Haul,
haul it. So if this doesn't get approved, you want to still pursue the two lots, you can come back and ask for a variance to haul water. Because there is no other water source available for you. I don't know if you've looked into a well, but I know now wells are not being allowed to use on multiple lots. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Well, the guy at the water thing, 'cause I asked him about a well, could put a well down there that they could share.
Mm-hmm.
And he said you could put 3, depending on the well,
Yeah.
but they usually won't go over 3 properties per one well.
Right,
But
You would have to do that before
Yeah.
subdividing too, I believe.
yes.
Yeah.
So-
And I have seen so many problems with that going back into I mean, it's like you guys get along with, say you two bought 2 of those lots. Y'all get along now. Everybody knows what the rules are. Everybody knows who pays the electric bill for the pump and all that kind of stuff. But then when y'all sell, nobody knows anything and it just is one big fight. And truly, I really don't believe that the water is, wells are gonna be a viable source of water for much longer. It's gonna have to be a tap. I mean, yeah, I suppose you can haul the water to your cistern, but,
You would have to come through this board of adjustment for a variance to do that.
yeah,
But in terms of using a cistern for the spring, you can do that.
yeah,
Cause that's how it's that's how it's collecting the water now. It goes into our cistern.
That is still allowed. You just can't use the cistern for hauled water without a variance request.
yeah.
So, I mean, there's still an option because it doesn't sound like Upper Surface Creek is gonna be coming down your way anytime soon, because that development in Cedar Ridge is gonna be a wild project. So,
I mean, if you're granted or not granted and you only do 2 lots instead of 3 or whatever, we're still gonna require a hydrological study to know what the flow of that spring is. Which, maybe Sherry would, or Shelley would know more about.
Can I say something to that? On top of Redlands right there's hayfields. They used to be flood irrigated where this spring is. They're all in sprinkler systems. So that's gonna affect that spring.
Mhm.
But regardless, the hydrological study that will require will determine whether or not the spring's sufficient to supply the 3 or 2 lots or whatever. And maybe, I don't know how they write those determinations necessarily. With a well, they'll will say that you can use it for 3 residential units, we still gotta, figure out what the flow of the well is too.
Right.
And if it's potable and if it's gonna stay potable and,
It's quantity, quality, and dependability. And that's statutory, you have to prove that.
mm,
How do you prove dependability?
I think it's the hydrological study. And so I don't know how they do all that, but they're
Right.
taking into consideration the whole
Yeah.
watershed that's feeding into that spring as a source that can supply that water.
There's hydrologists that you hire.
Yeah.
They're kind of like a water.
Dependability is kind of trying to look into the future a little bit, so.
But there's a science to it. It's not arbitrary. I mean, they have a specific way of calculating that. And they'll probably be taking into consideration things like the irrigation,
Right.
above and whatever, and
Yeah.
historical snowfalls and
Yeah.
everything.
any other comments from anybody?
I think I've heard enough.
Okay. You wanna go first or me?
For deliberation between us.
Yeah, we can do that.
Damn, I had a real hard time. I never want to be the guy that's gonna close the gate behind myself and not allow somebody else to split a piece of ground up, but
I'm there with you,
just-
yeah.
I just have too big a problem with the water. I think every other aspect that's been discussed here could be mitigated.
Yeah, the
You know,
lots, I
location of
think,
the lots,
yeah.
view is, we all deal with the view.
Mhm.
But you can't really, we're supposed to be making the decision on this paragraph right here
Mhm.
under scheduled items and all other things set aside. I'm leaning towards recommending denial based on the water, unfortunately. I don't.
Unfortunately, guys, I am too. If you wanna do this, I would get, Shelley is the lady that knows the most about water up in that country. I think you guys would be better off if you're gonna do this, the 2 lots. If you put it on the west side by the trees, stack them up, and then you've got your driveway going up there, so you all 3 share a driveway, so there's only 1 driveway. And then the majority of that, what could be and should be irrigated land is left in irrigated land. And it's not gonna flood out the houses that are gonna be alongside the road. So I guess I would say that, I would recommend denial pending possibly reconfiguration of the lots as it relates to, irrigation and water studies with if it's gonna even supply the 1 for you guys. I mean, I think in this case, if you wanted to do those 2 lots, it would be, you could make a whole long list of stuff going from, you guys you just tell them put cisterns in and tell them they have to haul their own water, and you sell the places like that. Which some people like, some people won't. That leaves you with,
We
yeah,
wouldn't allow that.
okay. Okay,
And that is mostly because of,
That's our land.
you're
use.
creating,
Yeah.
you're creating a new lot.
Yeah,
And you're not gonna provide the existing lots. I mean, I personally have done 2 two existing or two new installs in Delta County in the last 3 years
Installs of
installed the cistern.
For
Now
hauled
that
water.
was
household water,
for hauled water.
not well or spring.
Is
And
it
that
the
was,
first single family residence on a property?
they were actually both cabins. And it wasn't newly created. They weren't small lots, but when you read what's in the land use code, we talk about a cistern is not an acceptable or adequate water source for
Right.
creating new lots.
That's correct.
So once you gotta read it right, and then everybody jumps to and thinks that that's wrong. When, on the first one I did in the last 3 years, I learned something because I didn't realize that the cistern, if it was above ground, had to have a building built over it, but the state plumbing inspector pointed that out to me. and it
Probably
was-
too late, yeah. Huh?
No, it was in a building from the get-go.
Yeah,
So it was fortunate, but not everybody knows everything about the whole cistern thing. But if you create a new lot in Delta County, it's addressed in your land use code,
yeah.
which is what you're doing. You're creating two new lots. So you fall within those guidelines. So it's not like it's grandfathered in or something, but. And our land use code now sticks pretty close to what the state inspectors are doing. So, the land use code doesn't address our electrical, but it certainly does on the plumbing
Yeah.
of where the water goes. So your septic system and gray water, they're
Mhm.
pretty
Oh, they
much
got
on the
that new
same
thing
page.
coming on gray water, right?
They're supposed to do it last year, but they're
Well,
still,
we're going, I think environmental health has decided to not,
Okay,
adopt that.
we got enough going on here, let's.
so.
Are you-
Anyway, is that your motion kind of?
Yeah,
I guess
I would
I'm
add
a-
that, I would add to that. That, I mean, it's an agricultural area. So, 2 acres is, not an agricultural area, but the way I'm describing that, I think it would run better flow wise and not messing with, foundations and other stuff. The water concerns me the most, both the irrigation and mostly the domestic and the spring.
Sure.
I've seen so many of those go wrong, and it's always the second or third owner that has the problem. But now we've got the NRCS throwing money at people that are, they're out of money, thank God, but they're not doing it out of the good of their hearts. They're doing it to send water to California. But that is gonna mess with the water tables, i.e. dry out wells, and you guys are high enough where you would be probably maybe one of the first ones. Wells, springs, whatever you wanna call it. And I don't wanna see that happen. I mean, I can name you places from, like I said, the Wild West 90s. There's one up on Fruitland Mesa, they have to replace their, porcelain fixtures about once every 5 years because the water has so much iron in it, it turns the white fixtures orange. And that was before any kind of codes and all kinds of problems. Yeah, and so all of those people now are having to haul water to a house that they were sold, that they tore, and we don't want that to happen anymore. So I think water would be my, main concern. Drainage, as far as irrigation, I know that, I don't want to be out, I got somebody irrigating for me when my husband died. You just got to find somebody that is trustworthy enough to irrigate your place.
But you gotta pay him.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah. Well, I have a sweet deal with mine, so yeah, he has all my land. I take his lake havers. So how do I want to put this, Mike?
Can
With
we,
what
if
Mike
you're-
said,
if you're still doing it, could we just have you rethink your motion and just make it short and sweet? I kind of told you I'm willing to go with a,
But I wanna give him
Denial
some options
recommendation.
here. Yeah,
well, I don't know that that's our job.
yeah,
To give us options. We really need to look at our three options
Yeah.
for the stuff that's been proposed. I mean, on our own, not during the meeting. I'd love to give you an idea if I had it on how you could accomplish what you want to accomplish and maybe
right after this
ownership,
meeting, maybe you two ought to talk, yeah.
you know, but for right now, I think we ought to stick to the task at hand, which is,
Approve, conditionally approve, or
or deny.
I think
Your
deny
motion-
depending water, we need a well agreement. We talked about that earlier, if we were gonna do that, failing that. And, if water taps become available, that,
And change things.
yeah, yeah.
but I don't know if that would be a straight denial. That would be like a conditional approval based on if a water tap comes available, if and when. I don't know if you can,
Hard to force an encumbrance on something.
you can do it
down the road.
pending
That's
on
like
the
a-
water. Yeah,
Yeah,
so you're either denying it based off the fact that they don't have domestic water or another reason. Or you don't think that it meets the lots variances.
That's the tools we have in our toolbox
okay,
to look at this. So I think water's the one that's the hill we can stand on.
yeah, I do
On
too.
this one, it's just,
And it's, we're worried about, you know, your livelihood later. It's not just now. It's the guy that owns the property next, and you say it's your kids. What happens if the water goes out, you know, in 5 years? We're trying to look ahead. Back there in the Wild West 90s, it was just all over the map. They let places be built that never should have been. Yeah. So I'm probably overly cautious on those kinds of things. So I guess, unfortunately, I would vote to deny pending water study. Possibly
condition.
realigning lots. Yeah,
conditional denial, which is not an option.
okay, all right. So you tell me how many we want to say this.
You want me to make a motion then?
Mm,
Okay, I would make a motion that PLN 25-046 Burns. I make a motion that we recommend denial based on potable water, lack of
adequate
adequate
potable water.
So that's my motion.
And I would like to add more things to that, but I won't. I'll agree.
Okay, with
Yeah.
that, we will be in
Oh,
contact,
oh.
so you'll get a letter from us. Take the denial.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sorry, guys.
We're sorry, guys. We just, you know, we're looking out for you. That lady right back there, you want to be friends with, because she handles all the water for everybody. And she can give you more information on, you know, that kind of stuff. Yes.
Thank you.
Right,
I hate doing that,
yeah,
but
Hmm.
it just, yeah, I'm that water person.
we go to the next item. in the
Yeah.
agenda. Okay.
Sure.
So, wanted to see if all three of you are planning to, or three, I guess, the two of you. Clayton, are you gonna join the Board of Adjustment?
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Is he
I
old
just wanted to
enough?
See if you all are, continuing in 2026.
Hey, I still have my Prozac and Bulletproof vest from Planning Commission. I'm good.
And then, we wanted to schedule an annual meeting on January 14th, so I want to check the availability for
That I
that.
need to look at. I know I have markets sometime in
That's
this
during the
area,
day?
but
The regular 2 o'clock or whatever it is.
how do you have to be on the
It's
planning
an
commission?
Executive session with the commissioners. I
Yeah.
think that for the board of adjustment, and they'll be having county attorneys come to discuss some points to do
Okay.
with the appeal case on the 22nd. And we can take care of the annual meeting, responsibilities at that time. So
So it'd be a 5:30 meeting.
5:30 meeting, yes.
Regular time.
Yeah,
I don't think I'd have a problem.
okay.
I believe I'll be okay with the 14th and the 22nd.
22nd, yeah, okay, good.
God.
And that's okay, we can do our annual meeting that day, the 14th. We'll also, discuss and get some county attorney counsel on the appeal case the following week.
Yeah, and there's some stuff I want to talk to you guys about as far as the land use code and these entertainment barns that are coming up and all of that kind of stuff.
Okay,
A lot about liquor licenses, kind of what I sent you. I really, really, really think we need to come up with a way to ensure that
there's some
somebody
responsibility.
is responsible, and I just, well, yeah. we
That's
don't
a
need to discuss
conversation
it.
that is happening with the commissioners that
Uh.
they come up with these event venues. So, we have applied in both those cases, in the recent event venues that were approved, a condition that they meet state liquor laws is all it
And
says.
they're all in place, so.
It kind of went around and around. Terry, the recorder, she issues the liquor licenses and brought a lot to the table in terms of information
Yeah.
about what we can and can't do. I like the idea of at least having a licensed, server that would at least be something to.
I think they need somebody at the door too, because if they're selling them an $8 beer or glass of wine, they're gonna go out and take a nip out of their pickup truck, out of that bottle of Jim Beam they got out there. So I think they need a minimum of 2 employees, and I think they need to be owned and controlled and employed by the owner of the property.
Probably
Because
gonna-
Billy Joe Jim Bob's
Yeah.
brother-in-law ain't gonna pay attention to the guy that wants another shot.
And legally in the state of Colorado, we've been told by the State Liquor Commission that the signage at the door is adequate. Nobody believes it, but every time we get a special liquor license in the city limits of Delta,
Yeah,
so now you're dealing with 2 government entities who are overwatching the liquor, and everybody's in agreement
mhm.
that, and, any of these organizations that rent out a hall have the same exact
Yeah.
issue.
I mean, the problem for planning to apply that is like, how do we enforce that?
Yeah.
What do we do to make that happen?
You say you
It's
need
the
to have,
state
you need
that-
to apply for the liquor license, and you need to hire your own bartender, and you need to hire somebody to be at the door.
We can say
But
all
you
that
don't,
we
you
want, but that really is,
Yeah,
how would we enforce that? How would we know?
we'd probably go knock
And
it.
how does that relate to land use?
I
mean,
think it relates to safety and security and
Yeah.
well-being in the county, especially that mess up on J Road.
They've discussed it, it is going around and around, and I mean, the conclusion was that we put this condition on that they meet state, liquor laws, that was it.
Yeah.
That's how it ended.
It's kind of unfortunate, because,
I agree that it
You
leaves
know.
the door open for a lot of misbehavior.
well, that's why our municipalities here in Delta County can make you, you have to post a sign
Oh, yeah,
at the front door
Yeah.
stating that you're gonna serve alcohol to the public,
yeah,
and then you just pay your fee to whatever municipality you're working in,
Mhm.
and you get it, you're allowed so many a
What I
year.
would like to see more is that before they issue a liquor license, they make sure that they have what they need from planning department, because. And it does say that in the liquor license to check with the planning department, but then people don't. And they don't. I think really we should just be like a review agency for liquor licenses and say, no, they don't have a permit for X, Y, and Z. Don't issue a liquor license
Mhm.
until they get X, Y, and Z done. But that's another issue,
And
but
then there's so
I
many
don't-
different kinds of liquor licenses, you
Yeah.
guys would be babysitting,
that's not our,
yeah, that's not your.
you know.
It's not, but it's gonna affect our county, especially that mess up there on J Road.
I don't really have any other business unless you guys do, or like, you know. This part of the agenda, do you have anything else?
Don't, but anything new that's coming up, we're gonna go over on the 14th.
The land use code has a lot of revisions stacked up and ready to go, but we have the lawsuit out against the county about the land use code, and so the county attorneys have advised us to not, you know, make any revisions until that is cleared. And it's up to the Supreme Court, I guess, right now. That's, so I don't know when that will be resolved. But we have natural medicine business regulations that we've drafted, and
That was my other question, yeah.
we also have battery energy storage system facility regulations that we've drafted. And so those need to still go through the public process, you know, for adoption and everything, as would any revision to the land use code.
Yeah.
But those are kind of in queue for when the time comes.
Somebody asked me on this one, how come they didn't get notified about the deal? Do we not send letters out at
Yeah.
this point?
What
Actually, it was
the-
Shelley Geis, and she lives right next door. She said she never got a letter.
Feet, which
Do we think 200 feet really is adequate for, you know, an A35 area? I like 1,000 better. Hers probably just got lost in the mail.
issue during holidays where people don't even get theirs until 3 weeks past. We had lots of comments on one of the, I think we took it to the planning commission where they just got their letter literally the day before the meeting.
Yeah.
We can't control the mail. It's been post dated. I can't knock on everyone's door and give them a letter personally.
No, I don't expect you to. I just
I went-
was mentioning that, you know, 200 feet in an A35 area is, yeah.
Picking up every on the GIS now. That touched the parcel, so I went all the way out to make sure that everyone that touched the parcel and beyond.
I know you're thorough, darling, and I appreciate that. Yes. Okay, what kind of wisdom do you have to impart to us?
I don't know. Could be
How old do you have to be a?
a board member.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know.
So, want to become one, but
One day,
one
You
day.
need to come to some more of these meetings, and just observe.
Hey, I've been dragging him to every kind of meeting there is. Hey, we've been to the one Delta County where he was totally, yeah.
are we
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They need to get back home, go to bed though.
adjourned?
I believe so. Okay. Yeah, you too. Sorry to be a pain, Sean, but I miss water. I